caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teal. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teal, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Caregiver Solution Info Show. I'm happy that you could join us today. We have another wonderful program. I hope with this coronavirus pandemic that you all are staying safe. And if you're home and you're a caregiver and you're finding that your days are longer, you're finding it's harder to accomplish things, you're finding it harder to deal with being a caregiver, you're not alone. Everyone is feeling the effects of this. And sometimes you just wish you could pick up the phone and call a toll-free number and just say, help. Well, the good news is you can. Today we're going to be talking to a wonderful resource, and that's what the show is all about, giving caregivers, family caregivers, unpaid family caregivers who are in the trenches, caring for people that can't care for themselves, especially people that have Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. And information is valuable and help is much needed. And so my guest today, we're going to be talking about how you can just pick up a phone and call for help, because this is called the Helpline. And my special guest today on this half of the show is Kim Clausen. And Kim is the director of the Helpline with the Area Agency on Aging. There you are. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Marcia. Thank you so much for having us. We're thrilled to be a part of your show.
Well, I'm glad you're here, because in this day and time, we all need help, but especially now with the coronavirus and people just sometimes don't know which way to turn. They need to be able to reach out easily and talk to somebody who can lead them in the right direction, whether it's getting help with paying some bills or getting help with their loved one needing some extra assistance, or just knowing things that are available to them that they didn't know that was available. And that is a great service that you have and that you do for the Area Agency on Aging. So I want to talk about that. And you know, there are area agencies on aging throughout the country in different states. What territory do you cover?
Great. So, yeah, we are serving a 5-county area. It's Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River, and Okeechobee counties. We also have sister agencies, as we call them. There's 11 area agencies on aging throughout the state of Florida. So things that I'm sharing today, there would be like programs throughout the entire state. And there are 630, I believe, area agencies on aging in the United States. So we are pretty well networked. Our purpose is to be here for seniors and caregivers and persons with a disability to help them navigate what we call the long-term care needs. So as a senior begins to age and needs more help in their home, and the caregivers need more help, we want to give them all the resources and opportunities there to assist them.
I kind of like to talk about you as the one-stop shop, because it's one phone call, you know, to a toll-free number to pretty much get any information that you might need. And I really want everybody to know about this. And to your point, if someone's listening to the show and you're not in the service area that Kim just described, then you want to reach out to your local area agency on aging to ask about similar programs that you can get tapped into. Right, Kim?
For sure. Yes, yes. And we're all here to provide those resources. So, yes.
So let's just start out with some of the resources that are available for people that call in to this helpline. And we have the helpline number on the screen. And if you are someone that's listening on the iHeartRadio app, then I want to go ahead and give that to you because obviously you cannot see the screen. The helpline number is toll free. It's 866-684-5885. And you can call that number and get help. Are there special hours for the helpline, Kim, or is someone answer it all the time?
We are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We do have an answering machine that we would take a message off hours. We're happy to return that call within 24 business hours. Yeah.
Okay, great. So if anybody's listening and you need help, write that number down because it will come in very handy. So the helpline serves a lot of purposes. It's there to, obviously, like it says, to help people. But what kind of things can you actually help people with, Kim?
The number one reason people call us is because we are the gateway for in-home services for a person who needs more help in the home. So it's everything Medicare doesn't cover. Medicare is your medical, health insurance, doctors, hospital visits, prescription drugs. But what seniors begin to realize is I need shopping assistance, I need homemaker, I need personal care, I need an emergency alert button, the things that would help somebody stay safe in their home. And the big one, because I have a real heart for caregivers, is the caregivers need what we call respite. They need time out. And so respite can either be adult daycare programs, or it could be an aide coming in and being with your loved one so you can get to the grocery store, get your hair done, go to the movies, take a break. Because we really believe that, without the caregiver support, most of our family caregivers, it would all fall apart if we didn't give them more support and relief and support groups. So we're the gateway for all the publicly funded programs. The largest one that people know about and call for is Medicaid. Medicaid long-term care can do home and community-based services or nursing home services. We tend to work with people looking for home and community-based services. And then there's other funding. There's Older American Act dollars, there's some Florida State General Revenue dollars, and a very generous pot of money we get is for the Alzheimer's Disease Initiative, and that's specifically respite for caregivers. So there is a waiting list, but that one in particular does tend to move quicker than others. So there is that service available. Many of those, it's not income or asset based, so it's there for everyone who needs it.
So you mentioned many of these things are publicly funded. Does that mean that there's no cost to the services?
Right. So under certain programs, Medicaid being the one that comes to mind, Older American Act, there is no cost. Under some of the others, it's a sliding fee scale, so their ability to pay or contribute to the cost, is navigated. But a lot of our seniors can't afford it, and so there would be no cost to them. They would waive that fee.
So for an example, if I'm caring for my elderly father who has dementia, and maybe I'm working and I can't do it all by myself, or I need help because he might not be safe by himself, and I call the helpline, what would they offer to me?
So we're first going to screen probably the caregiver, ask some questions about their loved one. What are their needs? How able are they to perform their activities of daily living? And that screening is going to tell us a lot about what services they might need, what would they benefit from. And for my caregivers, that respite, that working caregiver, I get that call all the time. My daughters call and say, I've been caring for my mom, my dad, but now I've got to go back to work. What can I do? And we'll screen them for the adult daycare programs. And for some of my caregivers with their loved ones with Alzheimer's and dementia, they get a little bit hesitant. Oh, my loved one wouldn't make that transition. They don't like change. You don't understand. They don't do well with that. And what I want to encourage them is, let's give it a try. Go take a field trip. Go visit. Go have lunch. Let's introduce it slowly. And most of my facilities are very well trained for that particular hiccup, and they're ready to help and make it work. And when the loved one gets in there, I mean, they're so stimulated. They're in a craft activity, they're socializing with others, they're eating nutritious food. So they really do begin to understand the new routine and thrive. You're going to see a lot of improvement in someone's memory and ability to engage with others because they're more stimulated. So there's a lot of bonuses to it.
Well, I like that you're interviewing to uncover the needs. So it might be that what I'm calling about, for one thing, it might turn out that you might suggest or offer other services that I didn't even know were available.
Sure. And typically that starts with home delivered meals. We get that call, really early on when somebody's beginning to struggle. It could be that aid to help come bathe. Because sometimes, the personal care, especially a daughter caregiving a father, it's never a comfortable scene. So we want to offer, the personal care assistance. From some of my seniors that live alone, it's an aid to come in and just be a companion. Maybe read their mail with them or, play a board game with them, something to stimulate them a little bit. So, you just never know what might be a good solution to some of the challenges of, people aging in place. It's all about keeping people safe and keeping them at home for as long as possible.
Absolutely. And now that we have to stay home for the most part, the stay-at-home orders, we're all social distancing, it's even more important to know about the things that can help caregivers and help their loved ones inside their home because they can't go out. So this is just such valuable information that we're talking about today. And we really want to spread the word because it's there. It's out there. It's available. A lot of it is no cost, and some of it is low cost. So it's something that people really do need to take advantage of. So we're going to take a quick first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Kim Clausen Moore from the Area Agency on Aging and the helpline and what it can do to help you. We'll be right back.
Great.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
I'm talking with Kim Clausen, Director of the Helpline with the Area Agency on Aging, and we're talking about how the helpline can help you, a family caregiver, caring for someone or someone who's older, getting older and aging and needs help, or someone who's disabled. And Kim, there's so much that you all can offer, but I was wondering, because of the coronavirus and because of the shutdown of so many things, how has that affected the way you do business?
Well, like everyone else, we're doing everything virtual right now. We're not seeing people face to face. We are doing everything over the phone or virtual with Zoom meetings. But I'm really excited how resilient people are. They're seeming to adjust. They're identifying new needs. I think as a advocate for seniors, our biggest concern is some social isolation, some anxiety about COVID, and wanting seniors to stay engaged in some way. So there are a lot of support groups offered on a Zoom format similar to this. There is a lot of counseling that's available out there. So we really want to encourage people to get involved, stay engaged, and talk it out is the new buzzword for our elder affairs that we're talking about. Our new buzzword is talk it out. Don't just sit and stew in your anxiety, but talk to somebody get some help. And we're really encouraging that.
So support groups are wonderful, and you can do them virtually like you mentioned, but a lot of older seniors that do not have available to them the way to Zoom in with, a laptop or a smartphone. You mentioned counseling. So if they were to call, how would that work for them to help them get through their tough time?
Sure, we're going to link them with other agencies in our service area that are offering some Zoom meetings or some over the phone counseling. A couple I want to give some plugs for. In our local area, serving 4 of the 5 counties, is Morris Life. They get some dollars through our Older American Act to do some caregiver counseling and some family counseling. They're doing that virtually or over the phone at this time. That's a free service. They're especially helpful when a family's just beginning to experience the crisis, their loved one's just been diagnosed, or they're trying to make that decision about, do they go into assisted living, or am I going to try and keep somebody home? Those kinds of counseling services are short-term, problem-solving, really solution-oriented, but free and a great service, a great value for families. And also Ruth Rails Jewish Family Services down in the Boca area, they also get dollars for some caregiver support programs. So they're out there. Again, you just want to know our number, 866-684-5885, and we'll be able to steer you toward what's closest to you and what's available in your area.
Well, thank you for offering that. I just know that a lot of people have said, hey, Zoom is great, virtual support groups are great, educational programs on the computer are great, but some of our older folks just aren't tech savvy and don't have the ability for that. So, not to leave them out. They do have phone conversations you can have with people that you definitely can definitely help you. Some of the other things that I think is real interesting that you all get involved in, I want to mention, they're kind of, it's a fun thing actually, the robotic pets and the MP3 players. Tell me about that.
So there was a grant the Department of Elder Affairs received that they could provide free of charge the robotic pets. They're finding that's very useful, especially for our folks with Alzheimer's or dementia. They're very lifelike, but they don't need to be walked or fed. And the robotic pets will sit in someone's lap and they can pet them and get all the benefit of, kind of nurturing a little animal. And there's a lot of engagement, to talk about what the pet's doing and, where is it and let's go find it. And so it kind of engages people. They were finding it to be a great source of comfort, because a lot of my Alzheimer's and dementia people are also shut in at this time because of COVID. We're all staying home and being safe. And so the caregivers were feeling especially taxed and overwhelmed. So anything we could do to support them in the home environment, we were willing to do. So the pets are really, really cool. And that's just going on the Department of Elder Affairs website and asking for it. And pretty much no questions asked, they'll grant it. And wow. The second is the MP3 player. And Marcia, you probably know this as many years as you've been in Arden's Court, what music can do for our Alzheimer's and dementia clients. And so the MP3 players can come loaded with, the oldies and the things that, we've seen it. People who are pretty nonverbal, suddenly you turn on their old tunes and they're singing and they're dancing and they're getting excited again. So we know that works. And so the MP3 players are a good way to make it portable. It's right in their ears, and everybody else doesn't have to listen to the big band sound. But it's certainly enjoyable for them, and we really think that that's a great free service as well, the MP3 player. So
I'm just amazed that these things can be free for people that are needing them through the resources that we're talking about today, because they do cost dollars, and for the area on aging to fund this to help people is such an amazing resource. The
Mhm.
robotic pets, we actually had a program a year or so ago, and I
Mhm.
interviewed the man who makes them. His company makes the robotic pets, and we had a few of them on the program, and I got to, be there with the cat and the dog and pet them and see them move and hear them make their sounds, and they are very lifelike. And
Yeah.
it's amazing, how a person with dementia can really relate, and like you said, lessen their anxiety and just
Sure.
spend a long time just petting and talking to this virtual pet with,
Yeah.
and maybe reminds them of a pet they had when they were younger.
Yeah.
And that just that in itself gives the caregiver enough time. They can make a phone call or start making dinner, and it's just these little things that you might not think of as a caregiver that can really save the day for you. And so
Sure.
I really want to encourage people to reach out and get
Mhm.
this information. And the MP3 players,
Mhm.
you can load them with different music. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I would probably need, probably a different type of music than somebody younger or older than me. So are they available to request a certain genre of music?
Yeah, I'm gonna dial that back a minute. I'm not certain they come loaded with music, but I think that's the intent, is to put music on there that would be of alike to the person. So
Okay.
I'm not certain about what's loaded on there, but that's the purpose, is to put music on it that they would enjoy.
Okay, because with the baby boomers and all getting older and leading into the beginning of dementia as baby boomers, we're going to have the Beatles. I
Yeah,
mean, that's what we're going to have to listen to, right?
yeah.
So everybody's got their favorites, and it is amazing. And when someone requests this, do they have to fill out some kind of a questionnaire to see if they would qualify?
Not that it's an online application and it just
Okay.
asks some basic questions. They really don't have to meet any certain criteria. And I know they still had some available, so as long as it's there, they can apply for it. Yeah.
Okay, very good to know. So we're talking about the helpline. That number is toll free, 866-684-5885. The helpline through the Area Agency on Aging. Kim Clausen is the director of the helpline. You've been there a number of years, and you've helped so many people. And I know that you have a heart for what you do, and you're very passionate about it. And I'm so glad you're here to talk about all of these things because it's so important. What are some of the most heartfelt moments, if you have one that has touched you in a way the whole time you've been doing that? Is there one that sticks out in your mind?
Well, to be truthful, right now in the time of COVID, it is our seniors who are sheltering in place. They're following the rules, and the real struggle has been food, getting access to food or being able to afford food. So there is a couple things for that. One is, for a limited length of time still left, we still have dollars to offer home delivered meals. Again, for a person that traditionally wouldn't meet the criteria because they're not homebound, but because of COVID, because we're all sheltering in place, they would fit the criteria. So that is a free service, and the home delivered meals are meeting a need for a lot of my seniors. The other thing is right now, believe it or not, with food stamps, they have given the maximum to everybody. So a lot of my seniors kind of gave up on food stamps because they said, oh, you only get $16. What good is that? I don't want to apply for food stamps. But right now in COVID, it's $194 per person. So food stamps are a good resource for my seniors, and they're all on fixed incomes right now, and they're struggling to pay for prescriptions or struggling to pay for food or struggling to pay rent. And so right now we do have some resources for all of those needs, and we're trying to just match the senior with their ask to what's the best opportunity for them to get that need met. So
Well, that is really not only heart wrenching but gut wrenching to know that there are people out there that are going without needed food and needed supplies. That there is help out there. So again, pushing the helpline for people to contact to get that information and get those resources and get the things that they need. Because certainly in this day and age, we don't want anybody to be suffering, more than they have to. So it's out there, and we want to help push it. I know you also do some other programs with the Area Agency on Aging, and one of them that I'm really interested in learning about is the healthy living. So we're going to be going to a break, and we're going to be coming back with your coworker, who is the project director of the Healthy Living program, as soon as we come back from break. And her name is Maureen McCarthy, and she's going to be telling us all about that program. And I'm just so excited to have you all here. Want to let our listeners know we are going to be giving away the 36-hour day book during this commercial break. So make sure you have a pen. Write down the number, because it's another free resource for caregivers. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Thanks.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help, because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Communities. Arden Courts is a leader when it comes to memory care. They have about 55 assisted livings across the United States, and they're all dedicated 100% to memory care. So if you are caring for someone that has memory loss related to Alzheimer's or another type of dementia, you want to make sure to tap in and get their information. But today they're offering this resource to you just because you're listening or watching the Caregiver Solution Info show. This is called the 36-Hour Day Book, and it's a wonderful resource for family caregivers. It talks about the trials and tribulations that caregivers go through, lots of information, a lot of definitions, and things that caregivers would need to know as they go along their journey on caregiving. Well, this book is absolutely free just for the asking, and in order to get it, just email to delray@arden-courts.com. Again, the email address is delray@arden-courts.com. Tell them that you heard about the free offer on the Caregiver Solution Info show, and send them your name and address and phone number, and they'll be happy to mail a book directly to you absolutely free. You'll be glad to have this book, and you'll refer to it many, many times. So go ahead and give them an email. If you don't have the ability to email, you can call them on their toll-free number, which is 888-478-2410. So my guests today are from the Area Agency on Aging. We've been talking about all these wonderful services that the Area Agency on Aging provides through their helpline. And now I want to bring on someone else from AAA, the Healthy Living Division of the Area Agency on Aging is Maureen McCarthy. She's the project director of the Healthy Living Program. I see you there on the screen. Hi, Maureen.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for being here. Nice to meet you. So tell me about the program, Healthy Living, that you're the director of. What's it all about?
Healthy Living offers workshops out in the community for seniors. They're all evidence-based workshops, meaning there have been 3 years of trials behind them, and at the end of the trials, they've been deemed to have, the participants have shown an increase to the quality of their life. So they're evidence-based programs. We offer 5 of them here, different programs. The first one is Living Healthy, and that is geared toward anybody who has a chronic condition. And it's a support to help them better take care of themselves through their chronic condition. That program and the Diabetes Self-Management Program was developed out of Stanford University. And they're both 6-week programs. They run about 2.5 hours each week. Diabetes program is very similar to it, except it focuses a little bit more on the importance of monitoring, tracking what you eat, and foot care, some extra knowledge for somebody with diabetes. And then we also offer 2 balance programs, which are geared for seniors, because as they age, they start to have balance issues. So we offer 2 programs that focus on that, and they are 8 and 12-week programs, and they incorporate exercise and education on surroundings, things you can change to be safer, even in your home or out in the environment. And then lastly, we offer a Powerful Tools for Caregiver course.
So what is Powerful Tools for Caregiver course? That one sounds very, very interesting and very complex, because caregivers need lots of tools in their toolbox to help them be, a caregiver, and it's not easy. It's something that you don't really go to school for to learn. Sometimes you're thrown in to being a caregiver, and so they do need powerful tools. So tell me about that program.
Yeah, so that's a 6-week program, and it meets for about 1.5 hours each week. It was developed out of Stanford University in conjunction with some professionals in Oregon. It also went through a 3-year study to show that it had improved outcomes at the end. It's 6 weeks, 1.5 hours, and the participants will go through a series of each week to week one is all about stress. What are your triggers? What is the one thing that all of a sudden sets you off and it causes a stressful moment, and how can we change that trigger for you and direct it somewhere else? And we learn relaxation techniques. There's 5 of them throughout the 6 weeks that we touch on, and not one tool is good for everyone. Some people gravitate toward meditation, somebody else might gravitate toward a walk outside. So it's finding what your relaxation is. We talk about better communication, and that's not just with the one you're caring for, but that's also with doctors and your family members, so communicating what the problem is before it becomes a huge problem. And we talk about dealing with difficult emotions, guilt, anger, depression. So all of those things fall on a caregiver's shoulders, and everyone goes through it, and it's not wrong. Everyone has it, and sometimes caregivers have a lot of guilt over those feelings. So we talk about how to deal with those feelings. And managing your time. Sometimes just our time management is a problem, and that's why we can't accomplish what we need to accomplish. And making daily action plans can get us in a better place and make time for ourselves while we're caring for somebody, because we forget to care for ourselves and do something nice for ourselves when we're caregivers.
Well, that is a lot. So you go through all of this in a 6-week program, right? And so I love the fact that you mentioned it was evidence-based and who developed the program and that it's been, evaluated. So do you track the caregiver's progress from the first week till the end to see if they have felt better or gotten better? You do.
We do. We go through, we do a survey at the beginning, and at the end, after the 6-week course is over, there is a survey, but in addition to the survey, we go around the room and we ask the caregivers, or now that we're doing it virtually, we ask, what have you gained from this? What have you changed in your life? And if you notice something somebody else in the class has gained or a change that they have made, and it's amazing to watch one caregiver say, oh my gosh, I saw Alice at the beginning. I didn't think she'd be capable, and I've seen her grow and be stronger, and it's really a lovely experience for us to go through as we facilitate. We are not teachers. We kind of lay the subject out there and we facilitate them working through it, and it's really a beautiful process to watch. And they get a caregiver help book to help them even when they're not with us in the class.
And what's in the caregiver help book? What does it contain?
It's a help book that was designed by the program leaders, and the first half of the help book really goes through the course. Really, it kind of touches on communication skills. It touches on the relaxations and the options for relaxation. So it touches on, the first half really touches on the workshop. The second half of the book touches on more individualized points. Should I put my loved one in a facility or should I get in-home help? How does that look for us as a family? And here's questions I should be asking. If I'm caring for my father's a veteran, here's some specific ideas to help you if that's where you are, or somebody with dementia. So it really, the second half of the book really digs more into specific needs.
Wow, that's great, because you mentioned it has questions, and when caregivers are faced with a certain situation that they need to know about or dig into, sometimes they don't know what to ask even. So providing them with specific questions to get answers to is really going to be helpful to them. So that is awesome that you have that help book. I love it. What is the cost of the powerful tool for caregivers?
There is no cost at this time. We are funded by the Department of Elder Affairs, and we can offer the workshop to caregivers for no cost at this time, and we are doing them virtually. So it's a wonderful, option for them, just even while they're home.
That's amazing. This sounds so great. How many people can be in a workshop at one time, since you're doing it virtually now?
So they are evidence-based, so we're only permitted to, we have to have at least 6, because you feel the evidence shows that caregivers don't have enough sharing to benefit if you don't have at least 6, but you can't have more than 13 in a class, because then you lose the intimacy of the program.
Well, that is wonderful. I mean, I just can't imagine a caregiver not wanting to take advantage of this. It's great. So do you have some upcoming workshops that you're going to be doing soon? If someone's listening, they want to be able to tap into that?
We do. I have a workshop that's starting July 7th, and it's from 10 to 11:30 in the morning. And to register, you would just call that 866 number and tell them you want to register for a workshop, and they'd be directed to me. And there's just one page of paperwork that I need to have filled out before the workshop, and I send you off the book and whatever materials we're going to use for the 6 weeks, and it's very easy to register.
That's simple, huh?
Yep.
I love it. I love it. So if you're listening and you want to take advantage of these free workshops through the Helpline Area Agency on Aging, all you have to do is call that helpline number, which is 1-866-684-5885. Their screen says a different number there. It's not 1-885, it's 5885. So it's 866-684-5885. Call the helpline. tell them you want to tap into some of these. And you're home, you might as well be doing something, learning something, connecting with other people, right? I mean, why not? I think it's an awesome thing that you're doing, and thank you for being here today, Maureen, and sharing this information, because it's something that everybody should know, and then if they can pass it on to other people, that perhaps it could help them also. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your time today. We're going to go to our last break. When we come back, we're going to hear more from Kim Clausen, Director of the Helpline. So stay with us.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teal, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and I'm back with Kim Clausen. She's the Director of the Helpline through the Area Agency on Aging for the Palm Beach and Treasure Coast here in Florida. And Kim, this is amazing, all of these wonderful resources. We just talked to Maureen, who's in charge of the Healthy Living Program, and all these wonderful workshops that are available. I mean, who would know that you all had all of this to offer? And I think it's really important that we're sharing this today for everyone to take advantage. So we have a few minutes left before the end of our time today, Kim. I want to talk about a couple other things that would be good for seniors to know if seniors are struggling during this time or any time, actually, not just because we're home with the coronavirus and social distancing, but there are other services that I want to have you mention. And one of them is the education on a free cell phone, or something about I saw that on the website, but I wanted to ask you, what was that all about? Can you explain that?
Sure. So the typical call to the helpline is, I cannot afford fill in the blank. There's something they're struggling with paying for. So we go through our checklist of, are you taking advantage of this free service, of this free service, of this free service, of this low-cost benefit? And one of them is the free cell phone. All of us who have a landline or a cell phone, on there is some kind of tax about access to the phone system. And so for my low-income seniors, they are eligible for, there's two different companies that do it. It's a free cell phone with 250 minutes. So if a senior's already getting any of the benefits, Medicaid, food stamps, extra help, any of the benefits out there, they would also be eligible for this free cell phone. So we have the conversation about, I hear you're having trouble paying your bills. Do you have a landline? Yes, I do. Would you be willing to give up your landline and get a free cell phone to replace your landline? And so most of the time they're open to that. And I talk to seniors all the time who say, I can't talk too long. I've only got 250 minutes. So I know they're working with that free cell phone, but you know, it's a great benefit to seniors who can use it.
Yeah, it saves them money, and they have something they can be mobile, because if they're walking around and they have their mobile phone with them, you know, they're able to call for help, and different reasons why they would be better off with the mobile phone. So I think that's awesome. What about the EHEAP, Emergency Energy Assistance Program. What does that mean?
Right. So again, when a senior's struggling with paying their bills, one of the things they call about is their electric bill. And so they are eligible up to $600 twice a year. They have a summer season and a fall and a winter season. So it's the hot or the cold season. So that's up to $1,200 a year if they have a past due or a shut-off notice for their electric bill, and they meet some certain income criteria. We would have them apply for this benefit, and they can get their electric turned back on. So the other thing they're doing right now, which we get this call frequently too, is I need a repair of my air conditioner. So a lot of times that's the last thing you can afford right now with everything else going on. So we would introduce them to the EHEAP program that could pay for either the electric bill or a repair of their.
That's a big one, I know, for seniors. I actually had a caregiver that I was helping one time, and she said to me, I can't afford my drugs that the doctor wants me to take because I need to use that money to buy other things, that we need for my husband because he had dementia and she needed some services. So she wasn't taking her medication. Maybe she would have qualified for something like this. So can you talk about that prescription help?
Sure. It's called the Extra Help Program. It's a low-income subsidy for seniors who can't afford their prescription drug costs. They would call our helpline. We would schedule them with a Shine counselor to set up an appointment. We'll help them do the application. We're going to look at income and asset to see if they're going to qualify ahead of time. We don't want to waste their time with an application if they're not. But if they get the benefit, it's going to reduce their prescription drug cost down to about $6 at the maximum for a prescription drug cost. There's another program called the Medicare Savings Program. Seniors traditionally pay for their Medicare Part B premium out of pocket. It comes right off of the top of their Social Security check. And if they qualify for this program, they get that back. So that's $144 a month that is subsidized through other funding, so they don't have to pay that Part B premium. So again, there is assistance out there. Most seniors don't know about it, and so when they call the helpline, we're going to kind of go through our little tick list of which program haven't they applied for. Can we help them get the benefit of that?
That's amazing. And one more that I want to touch on is the legal aid.
Right, so we contract with Legal Aid Society and Florida Rural Legal Services, and seniors often call with a legal problem. It's a landlord-tenant issue, it's a divorce, it's wanting to do wills or advance directives to do their planning, and it could be costly to go to an attorney to get those things up. So we would introduce to them the Legal Aid Society, and they do have some dollars to help our seniors get those benefits and look at that legal assistance. It's really popular, and it's sometimes a little bit of a waiting list to get the service, but it's still there, and we still want to encourage people to inquire and look into, are they eligible for that? Yeah.
Great. So speaking of inquiries, how many calls a day do you get to the helpline, and does that compare to other times? Is it more because we're in this pandemic crisis? How do you analyze that?
Right. So I'm going to say right now our average incoming call volume is about 250 calls a day. And those are seniors calling with those needs, whatever they present with. We're going to try and get them some resources, help them do some of these applications I've been talking about, or introduce the long-term care services to them and how we go about getting them enrolled for those. We'd probably have another 25 referrals a day from other agencies, other entities, social workers in the community, hospitals, doctors' offices, saying, my senior won't call you, but can you reach out to them and talk to them about this need, or introduce, what services are available. And so we'll do another 25 calls a day outbound just for that. And then anytime we give a resource, if we've given somebody Alzheimer's Community Care because they're looking for an ID locator bracelet, we're going to do a follow-up call. Within a week, we're going to call them back and say, hey, did you reach out to that agency? Did you get your need met? We want to hear a yes. We want to hear, that was great, it helped, thank you so much. And our seniors really appreciate that. We all talk these days about the lack of customer service. It's going to be overkill with us. We're going to do reminder calls. We're going to do a follow-up call. We're going to really try and make sure you feel heard and we've given you the best opportunity possible.
Wow. You do so much. Is there anything that you aspire yet to do that you wish you could do? What's on your wish list?
Yeah, well, if I could tell you our greatest unmet need, it's affordable housing. Seniors call us thinking we have some little, tucked away thing of secret housing for seniors that's affordable. We know of the resources. We're going to introduce you to them. We're going to help you get involved with getting into those affordable housing, but it's the greatest unmet need. It's just not poof, it's there for everybody who needs it. It really is a process, but we'll help you understand what that is and where to call and what to do to try to find that. There is a new, I'll plug this, it's a new roommate matching program, because we've identified there's a lot of seniors who have lost a spouse, they have a home, and they're struggling making the mortgage payment now on one income. And so It's a roommate matching program. Ruth Rails Jewish Family Services is running it. They're looking for people who have a room that they want to share, or they call it a host, and then they're trying to match it with a guest, somebody who needs a place, and look to similarities. And again, with our seniors, sometimes they're isolating and they're not socializing. Sometimes having a roommate, some of the best memories of my life is having great roommates. So we'd like to recreate that for some of our seniors and see if that doesn't help with the cost and making it a win-win for everybody.
I think that's a great idea. That would really help people to be with others and to share costs and be involved. And I think that's awesome. Kim, I can't tell you how much I appreciate all that you and your staff do, and I want to thank you for being here today and sharing all this wonderful information.
Yeah, great. 1-866-684-5885. We're here to help.
Wonderful. That's the helpline. Kim Clausen, director of the helpline. Call them at 1-866-684-5885 and just ask them anything. They'll probably have the answer to it, and if they don't, they'll get it. Right, Kim?
That's right. They'll come find me. But that's okay. I'm here to help too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, and thank you to all our viewers and listeners today. It was a pleasure to be with you today talking about all this, and good luck in the future. And thank you all for listening in or tuning into the show. We'll be back same time next week, every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on caregiversolutions.info. So that's the website, caregiversolutions.info. If you want to watch the show, if you want to listen, you can pick it up on the iHeartRadio under WNN and just plug it in and you'll pick it up Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So until then, I want to wish you all well. Give yourself a hug. We can't do, one-on-one hugs anymore, but here's a hug for you, Kim. And there you go. All right. Thank you. All right. Bye for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marsha Teal. Join us next week as Marsha, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions.